What up? What's happening? It's a Saturday night in the city. What time is it? It's 8 something. It's Saturday night in the big city. I start my shows off with a drop that said that. I remember that. Hey, what's happening? Hope everybody's doing all right. It's been a pretty wild week for me. I don't know about you, but wanted to jump on here real quick and give a little bit more info about what I posted earlier this week. Most notably, the picture that I posted with the headphones and the tapes and all of that. Give a little bit more detail on what that is. All right, all right. So, first of all, let me say this. I mean, people know I've had a lot of music collection and all that good stuff. So years ago, when I was a teenager, coming up in the '80s and everything, one of the two main radio stations most black people were listening to were 102.7 WBMX and 107.5 WGCI. All right. And I was just like everybody else. And then when the house music thing really jumped off, it got expanded to 89.3 WKKC. If you were up north, 89.3 WNUR. If you were south, you could only get WNUR after KKC went off the air at midnight or whatever time it was. But eventually, many of us, I grew up on the southeast side, 93rd and Oglesby, which is about a mile east of Stony Island, 7 blocks east of Jeffrey. All right. Many of us in my area, we eventually discovered WHPK 88.5 FM. My cousin, John, who goes by the name of John Muhammad, he's a DJ. He discovered them out of our circle in the summer of '85. And Lee Collins was the DJ playing house music on there on Saturday night, not 6:10, that was me. Saturday night, 9 to midnight. It's my understanding Lee Collins told me years later that he started on there in '82, but we didn't discover him until '85. So that was the introduction to WHPK for me. And in terms of house music, everybody always talks about the Hot Mix 5 on BMX and, KKC did that thing. But for me, the ultimate house music radio show ever was Disco Madness with Lee Collins Saturday night, 9 to. It was like going to the music box, Ron Hardy music box and all them parties at home. Because, when you're 11, 12 years old, you can't get in no parties, no clubs. So that was the closest that came for us because he would play all the same stuff and it was hot. Okay, so that's my favorite radio show of all time. But when at the height of the house music thing, I'm heavy into it. I'm getting tapes from the music box because my cousin's going there or his friends are going there. And I started high school, my second day of high school, coming home from school or get on the 95th East bus at the train station. And there was a dude on there who was sitting kind of in the middle of the bus with a radio. I was one of the last people to get on the bus that day. And he was playing Run DMC, Raising Hell album on tape. And the whole back of the bus was mostly girls in school. They knew all the words to the songs. And I was just like, whoa. I mean, I was aware of rap music before that, but that was the first time that I felt like, okay, this is gonna be the shit. This is what I got to get up on this. Yeah, the house thing is big, but this is a whole different thing that's happening. And I got hooked on hip hop starting that day in August of 1986. So I immediately was trying to get that Run DMC album. Unfortunately, I did not have any money that day to go to the record store to buy it. So a classmate of mine taped it, and I listened to that. But then I talked to a classmate of mine that I had, from 8th grade. What's up, Tammy? How you doing? Tammy out in Sacramento, California. See, I got friends all over the place. Anyways, but in '86, my friend Avis Branch, who's now Avis Wesley, told me, she was like, they play raps on WHPK on Saturday afternoon. I was like, okay. So that Saturday afternoon, I turned to WHPK, and that was like walking into a whole new world. Uh, all the rappers at the time, they all sounded like they was either in high school or hadn't been out that long. All the subject matter was mostly like real young oriented. You know, I heard a lot of rappers. I mean, the hottest rappers at the time was Run DMC, LL Cool J, Beastie Boy. No, not the Beastie Boys yet. Houdini and the Fat Boys. All right. And it was a lot of other rappers who were just kind of starting out. Maybe they had one song out, one single, but they didn't have no album. So that very first day I heard Eric B. and Rakim, My Melody. Check out My Melody. And I heard the Beastie Boys, It's the New Style. I heard some girls come on, Salt and Pepper is back, and we came to out rap you, so get out my face before I smack you, ho. I was like, damn, what was that? Yeah, I take your man. I was like, oh, snap, what is it? I mean, and then it was underground rappers who they never really hit it real big. But people like Just Ice, Schoolie D, who was really, they were the only two who really cursed at the time. Most rappers wasn't cursing. Boogie Down Productions, I heard them for the first time today. South Bronx, the South Bronx. So I was totally into the whole rap thing at that time. I would be listening all the time. And then they said they had a rap show on Friday night. Okay, so the Friday night rap show didn't come on till midnight to 3. I had actually heard that show once earlier that year, earlier in '86. I fell asleep one night taping some house, woke up, flipped the channels around, and ended up on HPK. And I remember hearing LL Cool J song, Dear Yvette. And I had heard his first single off his first album, I Can't Live Without My Radio. I remember hearing that maybe on BMX or something. And I did not like that shit at all. I was like, why this dude hollering by this radio? And he's like, don't touch that dial. I'll be upset and might go into a fit rip off you. Now I was like, man, I'll change the station if I want to. I ain't got to listen to you. Go somewhere with that. You know? So I ain't like LL at first. But then when I heard D Vet, I was like, okay, maybe he all right. You know, he ended up becoming my favorite rapper of all time. So yeah, but WHPK, the thing that set them apart is they could play anything. You know, the rap shows, they played all the rap that was out. If it was good, it didn't matter if the rapper was well known, where they was from, you know. And as the 80s went on, more and more people was coming out with records. And a lot of those people I heard first in '86 started putting out albums, and they became the legends of the golden era. The Heavy D's, the EPMDs, Eric B. and Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, all of those cats. So the thing is, I would tape those rap shows. Yes, I loved HPK too. I would tape those rap shows. Most of those tapes are long gone. However, I do still have 10 tapes. All right. Some of them are completely raps both sides. Some of them maybe is raps on one side, might be a house mix on the other side, or something like that. But what I was able to do, I bought this thing here. See this? This is a cassette to MP3 converter. And it has a little cord that you plug into your laptop. All right. And you can, and it actually has some software you can download, a program called Audacity. I didn't need to download it because I already had that, because I use it to do voiceover work. But I was able to convert my old rap tapes to MP3s. And I actually turned them into YouTube clips as well. And I made a playlist that I call Golden Era Hip Hop Radio Volume 1 through 10, because it's 10 clips. Actually, volume 10, what would happen is with YouTube, sometimes when you upload something, a song can get flagged for copyright infringement depending on who owns the rights to it. And what they've done is they've given you the option to edit that out, because if it gets flagged where it won't show in other countries, it may be like Portugal or Peru or something like that. I'm like, oh, well, they can't see it. Oh, well, too bad. But if it's something that won't allow it to be seen in the United States, then that's going to be a problem. That means I can't see it. Nobody can see it. So they give you the option to edit that particular song out. And it was a couple of the clips where one song, it was one where two of them got flagged. And but volume 10, the very last one, it was like 6 songs in that joint. So I was like, I ain't about to edit all these songs. So that one is not on YouTube. However, I also put the same playlist up on Mixcloud. Now, Mixcloud, you don't get the visuals. With the YouTube clips, I put, pictures and stuff. Where Mixcloud is no problems like that. And it's funny because, say, like, for example, this is the first tape right here. This is volume 1. This is from July 31st, 1987. Run DMC and the Beastie Boys were in town in concert that night. And I was taping the raps, and I actually fell asleep recording the show. So you get some of the DJ's name was Ken, but he called himself K-Ill. You get him talking, and it ends where he's actually playing, he starts playing the original song that sampled Run DMC Peter Piper, which was Bob James' Take Me to the Mardi Gras. But the last full song that's on this tape was Public Enemy Rebel Without a Pause, okay? Which, it's funny, he said it was everybody's favorite song, but from my memory, this was actually the first time I remember hearing them play that, so it became the hottest record out. I think this was the first time they played, but on YouTube, it got flagged, so I had to edit it out of the YouTube clip. But what's weird is I've listened to some other clips that somebody else put up from WHPK, and Rebel Without a Pause is in a couple of them. So I don't know why, but those were uploaded last year. The ones I did now, it got flagged. So it was actually on 2 tapes. It was on this one and one from January '88. Had to edit those out. But on Mixcloud, you don't have that problem. You can listen to all the songs are there. All right. So this is the oldest tape I have from '87. And it was funny because you can hear all of these songs anywhere, but it's a whole different vibe hearing these original radio broadcasts when these songs were new. Like, you can hear, it's funny hearing, them talk about the new Eric B. and Rakim album, Paid in Full, even though he didn't say Rakim, he just said Eric B., which is weird because it says Eric B. and Rakim right there on the record. It's 2 guys, so it wasn't just Eric B., although I heard a different clip of him saying Eric B. and Rakim, so maybe he just couldn't pronounce Rakim, so he just said, okay, we're gonna say Eric B. All right, so yeah, but you hear LL Cool J Big and Deaf album was the hottest record out that summer. So it's a couple of cuts from that album on here that you hear. And like I said, HPK could play anything. It didn't matter if it was cursing or whatever. So they were the first ones. They were the ones who here in Chicago exposed a lot of the hardcore rap that came out. And they didn't just play the singles. They could play the album cuts, whatever. Curtis, how did you manage to save those tapes? I love all my tapes. I have a lot of my old stuff, man. A lot of it. The tapes, like I said, I got 10 of them. Some of them I used to have that I wish I still had. Maybe they got taped over or whatever. But I mean, I just kept all my stuff. That's how I do with a lot of stuff I have. People, I got all types of stuff. People like, you got that? Like, yeah, no, I got that. All right. But yeah, so here's another tape. This one is from January of 1988. And it starts out with Audio 2 Top Billing. That MC in my people call me Milk. And the beat is from, they later used for Mary J. Blige's Real Love. Okay, that was a hot record out at the time. The very next song, Salt and Pepper, Push It. That was new. Okay, on this tape you got It Takes Two, Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock, which got flagged on YouTube. I had to edit it out, but it's on Mixcloud. So, and what was funny because, like I said, they started to play the older cuts that were used. They called it the educational cut. They would do it at 2 a.m. on Friday. And I got a couple of those on here because it was my first time hearing Ohio Players' Funky Worm. And they played it because NWA used it for Dope Man. And that was a big record in the fall of '87. And they did the same thing with Lynn Collins' Think because it was used in It Takes Two, Rob Bass and DJ Age Rock. So all of that stuff is on here, all right? That's 80. I wish I had my tapes from summer 88 because that summer was fire. And it was one particular tape I used to have, but I don't have no more. But yeah, so it's 10 clips in all. This one here from summer 89 to me is probably the best one overall. A lot of people had, because by this point, hip hop was really totally breaking through. You know, you had Yo MTV Raps came on the previous summer. You had all the classic albums that came out in summer 88, Public Enemy, EPMD, who was Eric B. and Rakim. You had Big Daddy Kane first album came out. There was a lot of stuff that came out. You know, 88 is basically considered the greatest year of the genre, and I would definitely agree with that. But because of that, 89 was really exciting. So it was a lot of people. LL had a new album out. Kool Mo D had a new album out. Heavy D, even though he's not on here. Big Daddy Kane's new album was coming out. EPMD had a new one out. So DOC was coming out. So all of this stuff, you hear Gangstar, Manifest, that was hot. You know, you hear more underground cuts about people like Roxanne Shante and Cool G Rap, and it's all type of people. So this is on there as well, all right? There's another tape, 1990, summer 90. This one is from June. I actually got about 4 tapes from the summer of 90. So this one, if you think about summer 1990, the hottest rapper out, Ice Cube, his solo album. So it's like 4 cuts from his album out. You know, Public Enemy was out. X-Clan was coming out. They were new. LL had a new cut, To the Break of Dawn, the remix, which was always the better, which should have been on Mama Said Knock You Out album. That's on there. Poor Righteous Teachers, Eric B. and Rakim, they were coming out. And you have a lot of the Afrocentric rap or the conscious rap was big at that time too. So you get a lot of the groups who were doing that. Contrary to popular belief, aside from Public Enemy and maybe BDP to a lesser extent, most of those groups didn't sell a whole lot of records. You know, but it was good to just hear them, you know, people doing the proud black stuff. So you got people on here like Intelligent Hoodlum, Lakim Shabazz, Lord Finesse, and King Son, and all these people. All of those songs, you can hear those type of records on HPK along with the more popular raps that were out as well. So the whole playlist is available. Like I said, it's on YouTube. And it's on Mixcloud. If you listen to it on Mixcloud, you don't have to worry about missing anything. On YouTube, a couple of the songs are edited out. Another good thing, too, is you get some rarities. Like this tape right here from July of 1990 has the original demo version of The Booming System by LL Cool J, okay? Remember, he had 2 versions of it that everybody knew. The version with the In Vogue beat, and the version where it wasn't in Vogue. It was similar to it, but it wasn't. And when I met LL in 2002, I asked him why the one with the In Vogue beat was only on the single. It was called the Underground Mix. He said clearance problems, okay? But even the one with the In Vogue beat that everybody heard is different from this one on this tape. It's like, matter of fact, they had to be playing it off a tape because they wasn't even calling it The Booming System. They was calling it Cars Ride By. Like they didn't even know the name of it. So that's on here. And then there's another tape that's got the 9-minute version of Bonita Applebum because they had the regular version on the album. They did a remix where they was rapping over the Ozzy Brothers Between the Sheets. And then there's a 9-minute version that combines both of those. And it has like some extra, the music is a little different. It's got like a sexier vibe. It's got a chick moaning all in and everything. But it's hot. It's 9 minutes, so you don't hear that too often. That's in one of the tapes. There's also a mix. Like I said, most of this, about 97, 98% of the music that's in this whole thing came from WHPK. There were some songs that were taped off WGCI because remember GCI, they played raps regularly sometime, not a whole lot, but they played them. And then they started a rap show, I want to say in summer 88. I believe that's when they started. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong. But I wouldn't say I learned anything listening to GCI's rap shows because I knew all the raps from HPK, but GCI exposed the rap to people who couldn't get HPK. and because they had the bigger signal, but they couldn't play everything. They couldn't play NWA Dope Man. They ain't played. They just played the regular singles and some album cuts. But one of the highlights from GCI is like an 18-minute mix that was done by Eric the Wiz. I actually posted it a couple of weeks ago, last week or week before that, because that was the first thing that I kind of experimented with this, was to record that. And that mix is hot. It's actually in two different clips. One from July, which is the tape I was just holding up, and then one from December, because I dubbed it twice from my boy Ed Fairchild up at Northern. What up, Ed? The cats on in Stevenson, 4D. Benny Wells, you know what I'm talking about. Joe and Ed and DeWaka and all them dudes. Marlon, Ken, Maxie, yeah, So they had all that stuff. So that's the highlight from GCI. Another thing, too, here's some of the other tapes. This one from August 1990. It has some stuff like D Nice's debut single, Call Me D Nice, which a lot of people don't know. It came out in 90, but he did a version of it before that in 87 when Scott LaRock was still alive, that they put out on a different record. And I remember because it had the hook. He didn't have the repeating "My name is D Nice" over and over again. It had the clip of Scott LaRock saying "D Nice rocks the house," which came from the end of BDP's song "Dope Beat" off the Criminal Minded album. So, but yeah, that's on here. You hear stuff like Special Ed, On a Mission, when that was first coming out. A lot of people, man. Third Base, all these rappers that were out at the time. And like I said, you got the Afrocentric people. It's some of these records I ain't heard in years. I forgot about some of these folks. King Son, Lakim Shabazz. Who else on here? Brand Nubian, when they first came out. That's on here, And then you even hear some of the early pioneers of rap, because there were a couple of shows they did. In the summer of 90, they did a show where I guess it was kind of like rap music's greatest hits up to that point, where they was playing all the raps earlier. And I caught the very end of it. So I really missed it. And they said they were going to do it again. Well, the next time they did it, I happened to catch it. So there are two clips, volume 5 and 10, that are basically what I call 80s flashback shows. One was done in 90, one was done in 92. And you actually hear, they played some of the early raps as well. So you hear people like the Cold Crush Brothers from the Wild Style soundtrack. That's from 83. You hear the Treacherous 3 is on one of them, their Christmas song. Santa's Rap, which is funny as hell. And so you hear some of the early pioneers as well. So all of these tapes are, it's great to hear them. You hear people like the Skinny Boys, MC Easy, who was Craig Mack, changed his name later on. So yeah, all of that stuff, I love all of these little shows. And like I said, a lot of these songs I hadn't heard in years. So it's real cool how with technology now you can actually use current technology to go back and bring back stuff from back in the day. So that's what I did. But this only cost me like $20 or something, So yeah. So if you're a fan of the raps from that era, check out you can either check out the page on Mixcloud, which is just Marcus Chapman Hip Hop, because I got a page on there that says Marcus Chapman House. That's got about 125 mixes that were done between 84 and 92 by all the house DJs, different DJs, because those were tapes that I still have as well. I converted those years ago. But this one is Marcus Chapman Hip Hop. And you'll see the clips on there, and you can enjoy those. This is like over 200 songs, over 85 artists, about 12 hours of music. We got a mix. And then that particular page on Mixcloud also has a bonus, some mix that Mike Love did in 1998 for a birthday party I had. But it was an old school hip hop mix. He wasn't playing stuff from 98. He was playing stuff from the 80s, early 90s. So it fits in with the theme of the page. So I put that on there as a bonus. So yeah, if you want to go on YouTube, just go to MC Marcus Chapman. That's the page. And it's a playlist that says 1987 to 1992. The links are already on my page. I mean, once I save this video, I can post it on there too. But if you go to my regular Facebook page, you'll see the links on the page already, so you can check them out. So yeah, if you enjoy the music from that era, or if you don't really know the music of that era and you want to just hear what it sounded like to hear a lot of this stuff as it was new, all these, because hearing them all together it's real powerful to me. I think, to hear, you know, LL new song or what was new, and then you hear Public Enemy coming on right after that, and that was new, and then you hearing, Salt and Pepper or Schoolie D, all of that stuff is cool. So if you enjoy that kind of rap, like I do, because I will say this, obviously we know hip hop has gotten bigger overall, got big over the years, especially starting in like 98. But to me, it'll never be as exciting as it was in the 80s and early 90s. From like 86 through 92, that's like the golden era. To me, Dr. Dre, The Chronic started a new era. People will say that's golden era too. I disagree. That, to me, I call that the platinum era, because that's when the audience got bigger and, a lot more of the white kids started. It was white kids buying the raps before that, but with The Chronic, that's when they started getting more pop airplay on regular pop radio stations. Their videos was in rotation on MTV a lot more. So rappers before that didn't have, even NWA and them, they didn't have all that. So that started a new era. But that 87 to 92 era, that's the golden era. 92 was kind of a transitional year from what I remember. It wasn't as many great albums out. And I remember that summer there was no dominant rap album or rap tape like it had been all the other previous summers. So, but it was still good stuff, and it's still sounding. One way you can tell the difference is the samples, because 80s, early 90s, they were sampling everything. You might hear 4 or 5 different samples in the same song. By 93, you wasn't really hearing that because they had to pay for them samples. So, matter of fact, I was looking at an interview the other day. AMG was talking about how with his first album, it was about sampling, and he had to pay all this money for these songs. So when it's time for him to make his second album, he wasn't really that enthusiastic about sampling. But that was the production style that he liked to do, but it wasn't happening no more. So that's why he never really got back to the level he was at with his first album. So it was a difference. And I know for me, one of the reasons why he said William had some New Jack Swing time in 92. No, New Jack Swing was before that, dog. New Jack Swing started in like late 87 with Keith Sweat and them. 88, I'll Be Sure, and Guy, because Guy was the ultimate New Jack Swing group. To me, New Jack Swing, and that's another thing too, even with R&B, it started to get different, because some people will say people like Mary J. Blige and SWV and Jodeci with New Jack Swing groups. I disagree. That's a different. Bobby Brown and Today and Guy and all, they were New Jack Swing. But the groups that started coming out after that, Mary J. Blige and them, that felt like something new was happening. Jodeci and all them, that wasn't the same as with Johnny Kemp and Johnny Gill and them. That was some whole different thing coming up with R&B at that time. So same thing with that. I say 92, 93 starts a whole new era from what we were hearing before. And I know for me, even with these tapes, one of the reasons why this series stops in 92, and even the show in 92 is a flashback show from the 80s. But for me, when I was 14, 15, in the late 80s, going into early 90s, for me to be in the house on a Friday, Saturday night taping raps was normal. But as I got older, when I'm 18, 19, 20, I wasn't going to be in the house on a Friday night or no Saturday night taping no rap songs or no kind of songs. I was out trying to party, because remember, Chicago had 18 and up clubs back then. So, I was going to the Riviera or the Edge of the Looking Glass or the Powerhouse and all the college parties at like the Hyde Park Racquetball Club, or going to UIC or Chicago State, and Union Hall was popping. So me being in the house on the weekend taping some raps off the radio wasn't happening no more. So that's why even for me, it's a change. And plus, I remember in '91, summer '91, when I came back home from college that summer, it started to get harder to get HPK. Like it was more static in it. So I remember listening to summer '91, but I didn't tape nothing because it wasn't coming in clear enough, And then the next year it was a little better, but like I said, I was out. So these tapes capture those teen years for me, and that golden era of hip hop coincides with that. So again, if you want to check that stuff out on Mixcloud, go to Marcus Chapman Hip Hop. That's the page. On YouTube, MC Marcus Chapman page, the playlist 1987, 1992 golden era hip hop. You hear all that good stuff and all the hot stuff that was getting played on HPK. And I want to give some special props to the cats who was doing that. KL, JP Chill, Chili Q, Sir King Ken, and DJ Quick Hands, who were on the very first rap show I listened to on HPK that Saturday afternoon in '86. And I did get to go to HPK one time in the summer of '93, and I met JP Chill. He recorded something for me. I can't remember. It was some song I wanted, and he recorded. Props to those guys. Props to the GCI people too for doing their thing. Ramonski Love, I used to work with. Disco Dave, passed away years ago. Frankie J. Those guys did their thing, but they helped bring it out to more people, expose the raps and everything in that era. But in terms of the real heat, that was on HBK, but everybody couldn't get them. So for those of us who did, we know. And so it's nice to be able to share this stuff for anybody to listen to. So check it out. Like I said, the links are already on the page. Once this video posts, I'm gonna, put them in the comment section as well. So it'll make it easy to get to for people. So check that out. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday nights. All right, homies. Y'all take care. Later.